right, welcome back. This is the Political Insiders. We're here in New York. Doug Schoen, Pat Caddell, I'm John LeBoutelier. On the table for discussion, 2016, the GOP race. Carly Fiorina, the only woman who's looking for the Republicans at running for president, former head of Hewlett-Packard, ran for the Senate in California, got blown out. Does she even have the standing to run for president?
John, I don't think so. I think you stated it very well last night. She was hardly a successful CEO. She certainly wasn't a successful Senate candidate. What on earth gives her the sense that she's qualified to run for president?
Other than trashing Hillary, which she's got some good one-liners.
I think she is just trying to improve her stature by doing this, and trashing Hillary is one way to do it.
You know, I would think if it weren't for the Senate race wouldn't bother me so much. I think she's the criticism that was raised yesterday, that Chris Wallace raised about her business background, the Democratic attack on that would be. But let me just say, having a woman run is probably good with the Republicans. The other thing is, we are talking about a year in which everyone's on the wrong message. The Republicans are divided between who can win the middle, who's going to win the moderates, who's going to win the right. The real issue is there's a paradigm shift going on in the country for leadership and for strong leadership and against the political class. Anyone, I believe, armed with that message, who you would think would be improbable, might not be improbable.
No, but she doesn't have that message yet.
Nobody's
going to have it, right? But if in the old days, 30 years ago, we used to talk about Lee Iacocca running for president. Right. There was a successful business guy who could have maybe connected.
He had turned around a bankrupt company and done that prominently. It isn't clear to me that Carly Fiorina has done anything successfully that would qualify her for national office.
Yet there she is getting national TV time on the Sunday
because
shows.
No one has anything.
All right, let's look at the state of the GOP race.
Right.
We have this CBS poll. We used it on Sunday night. And Pat, you looked at it carefully. Now, tell us the 48% who were independent in that poll.
Well, let's understand something. What we saw in the poll was the question, would you consider voting for so-and-so? And Jeb Bush, 51%. Republicans said they were 42 not. You had Huckabee had a positive rating.
He was
Cruz,
second. Huckabee was second. In this poll.
Cruz went up 14 points, having had the announcement week. But what was interesting to me is when I looked at the, first of all, the sample, as you just said, 48% independent, which was not highlighted. I went through that. Every single candidate in the Republican Party or the Democratic Party had people who knew them, had a plurality who said they wouldn't consider voting for him, from Hillary to Bush to everyone.
Right. So this is half the electorate who says they're independent. That's a huge amount. Say, I don't want to vote for any of these candidates.
Right. There is a huge desire, as we have been saying here now for over 2 years, if I'm
about
correct. 3 years. Getting older by the minute.
Yeah.
But candidly, we've been saying as a group, there need to be new alternatives in American politics, a potential third party, and certainly independent candidates for president. These numbers bear that out.
Right. Or how about what Pat keeps saying, Doug, is an insurgency inside the Republican Party, which we haven't really had.
Or either party.
I would support it.
Let me just say, I think the real insurgency, which Republicans have not had really since 1940, and that was actually one orchestrated by the Eastern establishment when Wilkie got nominated to stop Taft. There hasn't really been an insurgency like we saw in the Democratic Party that I was involved with McGovern, Carter, what have you. The Democrats, I think, are in the same way. Lyndon Johnson, no one thought in 1967 that Johnson was challengeable in the Vietnam War, but he was, and I think Hillary's sitting there. And, 60 days after New Hampshire, he was out of the race. Right. I think we're headed for a year more like 68 and not what everyone in Washington thinks a stable politic.
Right. All right, we got to go. But for Doug Schoen and Pat Caddell, we want to say Sunday night, 7:30, usually with Harris Faulkner. Even Easter Sunday night, we're all going to be on, and we'll give you the latest in politics. So for Doug and Pat, I'm John LeBoutelier. Have a great week.